Matthew 2 verse 1 says, Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the reign of King Herod. About that time, some wise men from eastern lands arrived in Jerusalem asking, "Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We saw his star as it rose, and we have come to worship him." King Herod was deeply disturbed when he heard this, as was everyone in Jerusalem. Verse 7, then Herod called for a private meeting with the wise men, and he learned from them the time when the first star appeared. Then he told them, "Go to Bethlehem and search carefully for the child. And when you find him, come back and tell me so that I can go and worship him too." Verse 13, after the wise men were gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. "Get up, flee to Egypt with the child and his mother." The angel said, "Stay there until I tell you to return, because Herod is going to search for the child to kill him." That night Joseph left for Egypt with the child and Mary his mother, and they stayed there until Herod's death. This fulfilled what the Lord had spoken through the prophet, "I called my son out of Egypt." Herod was furious when he realized that the wise men had outwitted him. He sent soldiers to kill all the boys in and around Bethlehem who were 2 years old and under, based on the wise men's report of the star's first appearance. Verse 22 says, "But when he learned that the new ruler of Judea," talking about Joseph, "was Herod's son Archelaus, he was afraid to go there. Then after being warned in a dream, he left for the region of Galilee. So the family went and lived in a town called Nazareth. This fulfilled what the prophets had said, he will be called a Nazarene." I love this account of Jesus being born, the new king. And I love the response that we see, the difference in response that we see between the Magi, the wise men, and King Herod and the people of Jerusalem. It reminds me of watching a recent edition of The Crown on Netflix, in a particular episode where Prince William was born. It was 1982, and I'm embarrassed to say I can actually remember that actually taking place. And I remember the celebration that greeted the arrival of this newborn king. But what we see in this gospel account in Matthew chapter 2 is a completely different kind of set of circumstances. There's two extreme responses to Jesus being born. The Magi, the wise men who've come to worship this newborn king before he's done anything or said anything of note. And then King Herod, who's looking to seek to destroy Jesus. And, you know, if we look at Jesus' life throughout the Gospels, Jesus always polarizes people into these two camps of either deifying him and worshiping him or looking to destroy him. I think it can be the same today, that Jesus has this ability to polarize us into camps of whether we look up to him and worship him and esteem him in a place of honor, or maybe we just dismiss him and think that he hasn't got a role to play. You know, I wonder why that is. Why is it that we polarize our opinion on Jesus like that? I think it comes down to this title of king. You know, no one's really threatened by a gentle Jesus, meek and mild, the baby in a manger. But when you give Jesus the title of king, it kind of gives the impression that we have to yield something of ourselves to him. We owe him some allegiance. We need to submit ourselves to him. And I think this can be a confrontational message. I know for me personally, there's definitely been times in my life where I've had Jesus in the journey, but he's been on the back seat rather than driving the car. And I think we can go through times and seasons in life where Jesus is definitely king in our life, or maybe he's just a bit part in our life. The difference when I see that Jesus has been king in my life is that I'm living a submitted life. It's not a perfect life, but it's yielding to him and it's walking in obedience to him and growing in him. And there's three things that I want to quickly give you that I feel will be evident in your life when Jesus is truly king. The first is there'll be a contrast from the way that you used to live to the way that you live now. Your life will be gradually moving forward all the time as you live in relationship with Jesus. And there'll be a contrast to the way that you live and the people that are around you live. There'll also be, with that contrast, there'll be conflict as well. We see this with Jesus as soon as he's born. Herod's seeking to wipe him out. And there'll be conflict when you live differently and live with Jesus as king in your life. And the third thing that having Jesus as king in your life will be the opportunity for conversations. People looking to you for answers to things that they're going through in life. How is it that you're walking with such joy? How is it that you have such a peace in your life? When Jesus is king, people will notice a difference, and it will cause them to want to have conversations with you about what the source of your hope is. And so this Christmas, my heart is that we would together would enthrone Jesus as king, that we would lift him up and truly have him there. We would welcome him as king, we would worship him, and we would get ready to see what he's going to do as we lift him up as the King of Kings.